Hi guys, my name's Kelly, thanks for watching. I feel like every video I film I apologise for potential road noise, and then when I edit the video I can't really detect any. Yeah, surely you can hear that. But this video I really do have to apologise because it's pouring with rain outside and the road is wet and the cars are even noisier, so I feel sure that you're going to hear some road noise today, so I apologise. This video is going to be a haul video, and these are books that I've put off hauling for quite some time because I did so many haul videos in quite quick succession. However, I really need to haul these, get them on my mantelpiece, see what I'm working with, so we're just gonna do it even though I've hauled quite a lot of books recently. I have them stacked here quite precariously in size order from smallest to largest, so that when I haul them they'll be on my mantelpiece as largest to smallest. Let's see if that works. I'm gonna start off with some picture books. This is Thelma the Unicorn by Aaron Blabey, who is an Australian picture book author, and the kids love him. He does really quite nice, like, modern cartoon art. Yeah, this is about a pony called Thelma who wants to be a unicorn, and one day this truck kind of emergency brakes and she ends up getting covered in pink paint and glitter, and she becomes famous because she's already strapped a carrot onto her head pretending to be a unicorn, and people believe she is a unicorn. But fame turns out not to be all it's cracked up to be. It's told in rhyme. I really love that story. The only other picture book I have today is called The Lion Inside by Rachel Bright and Jim Field. This is about a mouse who wants to find his roar. So who does he go to but the king, the lion who lives on top of the rock, to find out how to get his roar, which is basically a metaphor for how to get his courage. So he goes up the rock to face the lion, and what happens is not what you would expect. So it's kind of about embracing your timidity as well as your courage, like allowing both to coexist. Next, a little bit unusually, I don't think I've ever hauled a cookbook, but this was in the second-hand section and it has some quite tasty recipes in it. Oh, I remember. This is what sold it. This is Tom Yum Soup, I think, on the back. I had to have it. Adam's Big Pot, Easy Meals for Your Family by Adam Law, or Law. I'm not sure, but it looks really good. I don't have anything much to say about it, but I hope it's idiot-proof because I'm not a very good cook. Let's put it there. Next, non-fiction. This is a new release, Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance by Angela Duckworth. You probably already know that I like these kind of books. I like books about perseverance and creativity and how to succeed, basically, and this is kind of what this is about. Why do naturally gifted people frequently fail to reach their potential while others with far less talent go on to achieve amazing things? That's right. So it compares talent with hard work, and I think the case is that hard work is the more important thing. So looking forward to reading that. I have a writing book which I'm really excited to read. This one has great reviews on Goodreads. It is Use Your Words, a myth-busting, no-fear approach to writing by Catherine Devaney, or Devaney. Yeah, as I said, really good reviews. I've dipped into it and it just looks so readable. It looks really fun to read. I'm reading Bird by Anne Lamott at the moment, and even though I really enjoyed it when I started it, I'm finding it a bit harder going at the moment, so it's tempting just to dive over to this one. And before Bird by Bird I read Writing with Quiet Hands by Paula Munier, and I did actually really enjoy that, but I think this one might be even more sort of fun and easy to read. I love books about writing. This, slightly different, Social Media for Writings, Marketing Strategies for Building Your Audience and Selling Books, Ted Morris and Pip Ballantyne. Yeah, so I keep wanting to build this channel and start blogging properly because I feel like I'm such a moonlighter. Part of that is just because I have no set schedule, and part of it is just my own disorganization and ill discipline. So I got this to help me out. Plus, I really don't get Twitter. I know that makes me sound really old, but I feel like you have to be plugged into Twitter 24/7 for it to mean anything to you. So I don't know, maybe this will give me some tips on Twitter. By the way, quick plug, I am on Instagram, and I get how Instagram works. So you can follow me on Instagram at BooKellyJones if you want to. Next, I have a couple of poetry books. This one is Embracing the Razor by John Upton. I'm pretty sure that he is Australian also, and I haven't finished this, but I have started. Last, in my previous video, which I believe was my second quarterly wrap-up, I spoke about Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. That's a poetry anthology. And I'm just trying to get more into poetry. I'm trying in general to read more broadly. So this should help me with that. It covers death. There's some poems about his wife who dies, I think from cancer. And then about grief, and also I think a little bit about travel. There's some destination poetry in here, which will be fun to read because a couple of them seem to be set in Japan. Next, for poetry, we have Edward Thomas selected poems. And this came out in a series basically of newly jacketed and selected poems. This one was actually damaged on arrival, so I got it for free from my bookshop, and I can't remember which poem it was that sold it to me. Well, you know, not sold it to me, but made me take it for free. But I really like poems with very strong rhythm, if not rhyme, and this had really quite a nice sort of, for some reason I want to say nuggety. There's just something, there's a real wholesome wordiness in your mouth to this. I'm sorry that makes no sense, but I liked them. Next, I have no idea what this is about, only that it's a staff pick at work. It's Firecracker by David Isserson. And it sounds very strange from the back. Astrid Krieger lives in a rocket ship prototype in the backyard of her parents' estate. Her recent expulsion from the elite Bristol Academy has won her a unique punishment. She'll have to attend public school for the very first time. I've heard that this is just a really fun read, and it was another Doa damaged on arrival, so I got it for free. And it's another one of those kind of grainy covers that I like so much. Next, also YA, I got Sophie Hardcastle's Breathing Underwater. This is a new release, and I've completely forgotten what it's about. Ben and Grace Walker are twins. Growing up in a sleepy coastal town, it was inevitable they'd love the ocean. Always close, they surfed together for hours as the sun melted into the sea. At 17, Ben is a rising surf star, the golden sun, and the boy all the girls fall in love with. Beside him, Grace feels like she is a mere reflection of his light. I feel like the brother's gonna die in this. Why do I do this to myself? Why? But I think this is getting a little bit of buzz right now, so should be good, if tragic. Not very well organised. We're back to non-fiction. The Book is Dead, Long Live the Book by Sherman Young. This book argues that the book died way before the internet. It died when content stopped being paramount and things started to be a lot more about just pushing what people will buy. It's not so much about exploring new ideas, breaking tropes, branching out. It's just about playing itself and selling, which is quite a cynical marketing ploy, and you could argue that was the death of the book and not the internet evolution. I do understand that this book is quite optimistic, because obviously the book is still around. It's not about the end of the book. I don't think the book will ever be extinct. There's a quote by Stephen Fry that I love, which is, "Books are no more threatened by e-readers than elevators by escalators." You know, they just exist in tandem. The next book I have is Fairy Tales for Wild Girls by Alice Neer, I'm not sure. And the main girl in this is called Isola Wilde, and I've just started reading it, and I had previously thought that it was a really cool name, and it turns out that it's the name of Oscar Wilde's very young sister, who I think either died in infancy or just died as a toddler, very young. and it's quite unusual. This girl has a very, 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 very active fantasy life, and you're not sure how much of that is in her head or is actually real. Like, is this a fantasy story, or is it the story of a real life girl with some flights of fancy? I don't know yet, but I got it to help me with something I'm writing. And the writing is beautiful so far. Like, no one talks about this book, but the writing is sumptuous. The next, also as research, and I'm hoping I haven't already hauled this, is The Things I Didn't Say by Kylie Fornazier. I'm writing something with some mutism in it, and this is about selective mutism. It's basically, selective mutism is when you can only talk to very few people, I guess when you feel safe enough to open your mouth. So I got this, and I did start reading it and I didn't like the opening, so I'm hoping that when I give it a second shot I will like it more. I'm in one of those flighty reading moods where the book really has to grip me from the get-go, otherwise it gets put down and I pick up one of the other many books that I'm currently in the middle of or partway through. Non-fiction, again, research for what I'm writing. Gossip from the Forest by Sarah Maitland. You may have seen this on Jen Campbell's channel, although I think I saw it first on the Book Castle's channel. This is a woman who is researching the link between folklore, fairy tales and forests by visiting various forests. I've heard it's quite dry. Jen Campbell is reading like a little bit at a time, so that might be what I do. Yes, so hopefully I read this soon because I think it could actually be really useful. Next, another free book, Caitlin Moran's How to Be a Woman. In bookshops that I've worked in, I've either seen this in the humour section or in the gender studies section, but I'm interested in either of those genres, and I haven't read anything by Caitlin Moran, so yeah, something entertaining sounds good to me. Put that one away. Next, this one we usually keep in biography. H is for Hawk by Helen MacDonald, another free book. This is about a woman dealing with grief through the ancient art of falconry, and that's a pretty unique premise, and I've heard amazing things about this. It's not something that I would normally pick up, but for all those people who've recommended it to me. Next, also a free book, Quiet by Susan Cain, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. I started reading this once when I was closing my previous bookstore and I had to stand by the doors, and it was talking about Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King and the United Front. They presented him as an extrovert, her as an introvert, and perhaps they wouldn't have been so effective in isolation, but together they were. This is what it says on the tin, The Power of Introverts, and I am an introvert, but I recognise that we kind of need both sides. So that one is non-fiction. I think we keep it in psychology and, yeah, in psychology. Next, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This was free, which is why I took it. I might end up giving it away though. This is that very famous kind of self-help, wealth help kind of book, although it's usually in business. So, want to achieve your dreams? Then just follow Hill's immortal rules. The essential guide to joining the ranks of the world's most successful people. That was noisy. You heard that, right? So yeah, I don't know. This is one of those books that I've heard so much about now, I might have become less enamored with it. This really pretty edition of George Orwell's Animal Farm is illustrated. I think these are the original, very fine pen and ink illustrations. Like, look how crisp and lovely that is. I love this. I have read this before, but I read it at school. I remember being quite depressed, and this scene with Boxer the horse really stands out. But it's so crisp. Anyone else a real sucker for just crisp text on a mostly white page? But not white because that then looks like a textbook, like off-white. You know, you're book people, I'm sure you get it. I'm sure you get it, just because I think I'm weird. Next, This is an adult fiction book, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I actually heard about this one because at one point J.K. Rowling was reading it and recommending it, and then I found it for $5 on a sale table. So I bought it and I'm really excited to read it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's set in ancient Greece. We've got some people that we know of mythologically: Patroclus, King Peleus and Achilles, Helen of Sparta. I think this is going to be quite romantic, and I haven't read anything romantic for a while. YA again, I'm sorry, these are really badly organised. One by Sarah Crossan. This is a book about two conjoined twins. Well, of course it's two if they're twins. Here we are and we are living. Isn't that amazing? How we managed to be at all. Grace and Tippy don't like being stared and sneered at, but they're used to it. They're conjoined twins, united in blood and bone. Another really unique premise, which is why I've picked it up. Plus, I thought this jacket in particular was very pretty. Are those still in the frame? Oh, they are. Next. Okay. Next is this one. I Love Dick by Chris Kraus. This sounds very strange. A woman spends an evening getting to know this academic man called Dick, and she kind of falls head over heels for him. She is actually married, and then the man she's married to ends up helping her to pursue Dick. I don't know what this is all about, but I think it's supposed to be quite feminist, I think, and about, I don't know, gender roles? I'm not sure. This sounds very strange, but it was free, and you can't argue with the clickbait title that is that cover. Next, we're getting there, I promise. I got this in the sale, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time by Yasutaka Tsutsui. I think I heard about this one when I was still in Japan from a tutor of mine, and then I saw it on sale, and I am trying to read more translated fiction. So, I'm going to read this. And I don't want to know too much more about it, so I'm not going to tell you too much more about it. Sorry for the camera cutout, I had to change the battery. Clearly this is going to be another really long video, and I probably should have split it into two, but I don't want to have so many haul videos. I want to get some other content on this channel at some point. The last YA book is, for some reason I was going to say Sophie Kinsella by Finding Audrey, probably because the sizes are reversed. This is Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella, and I wanted it because of the cover. I love the colour yellow, and if I ever manage to have all my books in one place and do the whole rainbow shelves, this is going to come in handy. So as I understand it, this is about a girl with agoraphobia. She cannot leave the house, so it takes place a lot within her family. It's quite funny, I hear, and a boy moves in next door. There you go. And he's called Linus. I haven't read a book with a character called Linus before, so sold. Next, nearly there, non-fiction. This is a style guide for writers. It is the very famous The Elements of Style by William Strunk Jr. and E.B. White. You probably already know about this. It's grammar rules and writing etiquette, so potentially a bit dry, but it's very, very thin, and what it says on the tin. You don't need me to explain that one. And the last two things I'll hold together because they are related. It is Book 2, Academ's Fury, and Book 3, Curse's Fury by Jim Butcher. These are 2 and 3 in the Codex Alera trilogy, I believe. I heard about these from Peru's Project, and when I was a teenager I read high fantasy exclusively, and those are some of the most impactful books that I've ever read. Robin Hobb is still my favourite author of all time, so I'm looking forward to getting back into the genre in the near future. Plus, I've kind of missed these chunky but also compact fantasies. I mean, look, that's pleasing to me. Pleasing. So those are all the books I have hauled for you today in this overly long video. Kind of curious to see what I'll do with my thumbnail, but thanks for tuning in, and join me on the next one, which will hopefully not be a haul video. Wouldn't that be a nice thing? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go and enjoy this rainy day. Take care, have a wonderful day yourselves. Like this video if you liked it, follow me if you want to, and as I said, find me on Instagram at @BooKellyJones. Bye!